This is Apps Gaming.
Well, do you have any idea about the killer's identity?
The crime was committed by a man of medium height, with red hair and suspicious eyes. He has a slight limp on the right foot and a wart just below his shoulder blade.
Poirot!
Mon ami, what do you want? You fix upon me a look of dog-like devotion and demand of me a pronouncement à la Sherlock Holmes. Now for the truth. I do not know what the murderer looks like, nor where he lives, nor how to set hands upon him.
What shall we do, then?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Do not be so impatient, Hastings. The killer will manifest himself soon enough.
I thought I heard the postman. Maybe there's some news.
I will go and see.
Welcome back to the Agatha Christie's ABC Murders. Here with our Detective Poirot today. What things will we uncover? Let's find out.
Dear Mr. Poirot, well, what do you think? I believe that I won this round. The end of our affair went like clockwork, don't you feel? But the fun has only just started. I would like to draw your attention to Bexhill-on-Sea on the 25th of this month. We're having a crazy time. Best wishes, ABC. The next crime will be in Bexhill. We must warn Jap to Scotland Yard.
Did the letter indicate anything that might help the police?
To be honest, I think we can already guess something about the next victim. But I need to think about it a little more. Both letters were written on the same typewriter and show the same characteristics.
You surprise me, Poirot. You usually ignore material proof.
But there is nothing usual about this case, Hastings. Nothing must be overlooked.
So, Poirot, have you found something?
Oui, I believe so. But I am afraid it is not enough to stop the murderer. Let us go and see Chief Inspector Japp. I will explain there.
Well, we've arrived in London and Poirot has already deducted that the next victim's name and the place where the next murder will be committed will start with the letter B. As we go over to Police Inspector Japp, we will do a little observation of him.
Japp appears to be snowed under.
Poirot deducts that basically he's got loads of files on the desk, the phone's off the hook, and he hasn't made a new drink for himself in hours. So yeah, a lot of work on his hands.
Japp appears to already be overloaded with work. My news is not going to improve matters. Bonjour, Chief Inspector. I am afraid we have some bad news. I have just received another letter signed ABC. The next crime will be on the 25th in Bexhill-on-Sea.
Are you completely sure it's from the same person?
I have compared the two letters. There is no doubt about it.
I suppose you think he's going to carry out his threats.
I fear so.
Good God, Poirot. Bexhill is very busy at this time of year, and we have no idea who the next victim will be.
I suspect that the name of the second victim will start with B.
What on earth makes you think such a thing?
I thought about it when I saw the name Asher clearly written over the shop door of the unfortunate woman who was murdered in Andover last month. When I received a letter mentioning Bexhill, I deduced that the victim, like the town, might have been chosen by alphabetical order.
So it's an alphabet fiend. I'm going to have a list drawn up of all the people whose name starts with B. I hope there aren't too many of them.
Bien. We should leave you to work, Chief Inspector.
You have a few days to prepare yourself.
Thank you for coming, my friends.
And a few days later we get a call.
Poirot?
Chief Inspector Japp, your call does not bode well.
Indeed, we have just found the body of a young woman on the beach in Bexhill. An ABC was placed on the body.
We'll be there as soon as possible.
So now the journey begins to Bexhill.
Bexhill is a delightful town. It would be nice to come back and visit.
I do not entirely agree. Walking at the beach damages my shoes, and it hurts my knee.
So the years have not spared you, my friend. It's the same for all of us.
That is exactly what I said to myself when I saw you back from your travels.
Poirot!
Do not be offended, Hastings. I can see Jap waiting for us. And from his face, I would say that things are not looking good.
Well, Jap's waiting for us down on the beach, and we're going to take a walk down there too. As you see, when we come further down, it does appear that the victim is behind him, and that is something we're probably going to have to inspect after we've spoken to him.
Chief Inspector?
I fear your admirer has struck again, Poirot. We haven't yet identified the victim, but it's a young woman, 20 to 25 years old. Death occurred last night between 11:30 and 1 o'clock, and we found an ABC guide on the body.
Was she pretty?
Come on, Poirot, that's rather out of place. It has no bearing on the murder.
Are you certain? For women, it is often the most important thing. It often decides their destiny.
The body hasn't been moved. You can see for yourself.
Has the press been informed?
Not yet, but I'm planning to. I haven't yet informed them about the presence of the ABC guide in Andover.
Nobody has reported a young woman missing?
Not for the moment.
No witnesses, I imagine.
Indeed. We've asked everybody who may have met a young woman fitting her description last night to come and see us, but I have little hope of gaining anything from it.
It's early days, Chief Inspector, and the news may not have spread around the town yet.
I hope you're right, Hastings.
So now we're going to take a look at the victim and see if there's anything there we can find.
These marks have been left by a rope or a braided cloth. Apart from the marks on her neck, there are no signs of the struggle. She didn't manage to hit her assailant. Braided silk belt. It may have belonged to the victim. The young woman wasn't wearing shoes or a coat and was not carrying a bag. That's strange. The guide is open at the page for the Bexhill train times. This key is too small to be one for a house. Without a doubt, it is for a padlock. The poor child must have been strangled with his braided belt. Unfortunately, in view of the fabric, it is unlikely that we will find any prints. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Using Poirot's skills, we deduct that it's probably been committed by the same person.
The medical officer should confirm that the victim was strangled with her own belt.
That's what I thought. She shows the usual signs of strangulation.
With a little luck, we'll find prints this time.
You are too optimistic, Hastings. Our killer is far too meticulous for that.
Well, what we've got to do is look around the area. We did find a small key in her hand, and it was very interesting that she wasn't wearing shoes. So we're going to go over to this hut, and as you can see, the number 9 is there, but it looks to be the number 6. And well, on the key, it was number 6. If we turn the number 9 back to the number 6, we do see a code on the door, 715. Could this be the code for the padlock down below? Well, let's go and find out as we put in 715 to the lock, and let's try that key now. You wouldn't expect anything less from Poirot. Manages to unlock that padlock with ease, and let's go inside and find out what we can see.
It definitely was here that the victim left her belongings. The purse is full. Yet again, we can dismiss theft as the motive for the murder.
Final object looks to be a photo. Hopefully this is going to give us the information we need.
Betty's first day at work. Mom is very proud of you. Elizabeth Barnard, 7 August 1931. So, the young lady did have a name starting with B, and she worked as a ginger cat, an establishment that must be slightly further along the beach.
The victim has been identified and her family had reported her disappearance. She was called
Elizabeth Barnard, mainly Betty. She worked as a ginger cat at the cafe slightly further along the beach.
But Poirot, how on earth?
Never mind. Do you have her address?
Yes, she lived with her parents on the street leading to the beach, number 22. Shall we go?
You are far too impatient, Hastings. Let the poor people take in the news first. Let us go and visit the cafe where Betty worked.
Now we're at the cafe where Betty worked, and we're going to observe the lady at the counter.
This woman must be the owner of the ginger cat. It looks like something is bothering her.
Can I help you?
A hot chocolate and a tea for my friend, please.
I'll bring it straight away.
And while she gets our drinks, we can have a look what's on the counter. There is receipts and the times of when staff were working. So let's deduct some more information from this.
Betty worked from 11 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Would she have been alone at any time during her service? Interesting. Betty was alone between 5 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Who did she serve? Most probably a family. This bill may have been written by Betty. There is probably another one. Most probably a single man, a whiskey lover. Maybe the murderer? Betty served a family and a man on his own, a whiskey drinker. Maybe the murderer. This information will help me to progress. We are searching for clues, mademoiselle. My name is Hercule Poirot. I am a detective, and this is Captain Hastings. Does Betty Barnard work here?
That is correct. She should have been here a while ago. Punctuality is the first rule of politeness.
I fear that Miss Barnard will not be coming today. She has just been found, dead, on the beach a few hundred meters from the cafe.
How awful. Poor young thing. What happened?
She appears to have been murdered.
This is most distressing. How this will affect my business, I shudder to think.
What can you tell us about Miss Barnard?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. Miss Barnard was my employee. Her private life was none of my business.
You did know at least that she had a young man.
Indeed.
This photo was found. Is this him?
Yes, that's him all right. But I haven't seen him for some time.
Do you think there may have been some problems between them?
I'm not on those sort of terms with my staff. Now, please excuse me, I have work to do.
The customer who ordered the whiskey might provide us more information. He may have been the last one to see Betty alive.
It is an interesting idea, Hastings. Maybe he is a regular guest. What do you think, mademoiselle?
I don't think so. Our regular guests tend to order tea and cakes. At this time of the year, there are a lot of tourists about you never see again.
That's what I thought. Time to visit Betty's home.
Well, we found out quite a bit already. Now we're going to go over to Betty's home and see if there's anyone there to speak to and any clues we can find.
How do you do, mademoiselle? My name is Hercule Poirot.
I know you. You're that detective we hear all about.
I do not know if that is a compliment, but I will take it as one for now. You are Betty's sister, I believe?
Yes. My name is Megan.
Can we come in?
Please do. My parents are at the police station. I doubt they'll be up to speaking to you later.
Do not worry, we will not bother them.
Did you know your sister's plans for yesterday evening?
No. I arrived by train this morning. My parents called me in a panic when they discovered that Betty had disappeared. She went out last night, but she didn't tell them where she was going.
What was your last conversation about?
Her new dress. She wanted a pair of black stockings to go with it. Mother brought her a pair the very day it happened. She was crying. And to think that Betty never even wore them. Poor Mummy.
What is she feeling at the moment?
Time to get our observation on again and, yeah, observe Betty's sister.
Betty's older sister is not just sad, she's angry. Did Betty go out often?
My sister wasn't a child, sir. She used to go out. She enjoyed films, dancing. She was a very good girl who didn't hang around with men. That's what they always say, no?
I am not interested in what people say. I am interested in the truth, Mademoiselle Barnard. If you only knew how much I would like to talk with someone who does not know that your sister is dead and who could provide me with a true portrait of her, beyond the formalities.
The truth is that my sister was a silly little fool. I tried to reason with her, but she behaved like an idiot.
In what way?
She used to say that if she was going to marry Don, she might as well have some fun now.
I understand. Please continue.
Oh, excuse me, I have to answer that.
But of course.
Betty's room is opposite the stairs on the first floor. Feel free to take a look if you think it might be useful.
This young woman is far too clever not to have anything else for us.
Do you think she's hiding something?
That is what I'm trying to find out.
Surely you don't think she did it?
I did not say anything of the sort. But young women always ruin your judgment, Hastings. Who knows, maybe Megan was jealous of her attractive young sister.
I see. She may have had her sights on the inheritance. Or maybe she was in love with Donald Fraser.
We have to study all scenarios, even the most unlikely. But I doubt that Mr. and Mrs. Barnard are rich enough to justify murder. While I try and get Miss Barnard to talk, I would like you to try and find Donald Fraser. It should be easy to find the estate agents where he works. Bring him to the Ginger Cat. I would like to talk with him before the Chief Inspector finds him.
We're inside Betty's bedroom now, and we're going to take a quick look around.
It looks like Betty was also a music lover, the same as her family. Without a doubt, Betty used to sing. This small key should be useful to me. I've finished with this subject. Medicine to prevent voice loss. Did Betty have problems with her voice?
After picking up that small key, we have to go and see a clock that's on the table, and we have to decipher a bit of mechanisms at the top, as you can see there, then use the key. This will unlock the compartment and we can take these letters out.
This could be useful. Betty, I enjoyed a wonderful evening in your company, and I hope that we will see each other again very soon. D. My dearest Betty, I know that your art is already spoken for, but you are the most beautiful dancer I have ever had the pleasure of meeting, and I am impatient to see you again. Adrian.
So another tricky puzzle here. I won't bore you by playing how long it took me to do it. I'm just going to open this cabinet right along here. That's going to have a record in, and we're going to play it.
Oh, Donald! We're in the middle of recording.
Sorry, Betty, but it's not wise. The doctor said you should rest your voice.
You're such a killjoy sometimes.
Betty was such a good singer.
It's true. Did she have any problem with her throat?
Yes, she had to be careful with her voice. Of course she didn't follow the doctor's advice. If Don didn't insist, she... Well, it's too late for all that now.
It looks like this woman is single, but she has feelings for someone.
And next, we're going to do one more observation on her sister.
She is looking so intensely at this photo. But is it really a sister that she's studying in this manner? They made the perfect couple, am I correct?
Yes, in a way. She was pretty and he...
Well?
He's a bright man, with a promising career ahead of him. He would have made Betty a good husband. He was always attentive and generous. Oh, a true gentleman.
I hear a note of envy in your voice.
You must have heard wrong.
You have not mentioned Donald's jealousy.
There's nothing to say.
You are a poor liar, Mademoiselle Bernard.
Excuse me, Mr. Poirot, but I do not see why you are interested in our humble little crime.
It would appear that your sister's murder is the second in a series that we have to stop as quickly as possible. The first was in Andover, and the same as your sister, the murderer sent me a letter informing me that a crime would be committed in that town. Now can I count on your honesty?
Yes, you have my confidence, Mr. Poirot. Don is a quiet and sensitive young man. Slightly reserved too, and as is often the case with reserved people, when he flew into a temper he completely lost control. He could be so violent. Betty was frightened.
And when was this?
The first time was about a year ago, but they rowed more recently. Donald found out that Betty had lied to him. She said she was going out with a girlfriend, but she went out for dinner with a married man. It was an awful scene. She told him that until they were married, she was free to go with whoever she pleased. Donald turned quite pale and started shaking and kept saying one day...
Well?
He'd commit murder.
You think that is what happened?
No, Mr. Poirot, I don't believe that. You yourself said he may be a recidivist madman. Don loved Betty with all his heart. I can't imagine for one instant that he would hurt her.
Very good, Mademoiselle Bernard. Thank you for your help.
Fraser is at the Ginger Cat. The police haven't spoken to him, but they want to.
Très bien, Hastings. Let's see him now. Au revoir, mademoiselle. My deepest condolences to your parents.
Of course, Mr. Poirot. And don't be too hard on Don. He's more fragile than he looks.
If you say so. You've seen Fraser, Hastings. What is your feeling?
He's a big chap. Fragile isn't exactly the word that springs to mind. I talked to his landlady before seeing him. She went to bed at 11. Fraser wasn't home yet.
Bien. Megan Barnard said he is a reserved character but with a nasty temper. We will see if this is the case. How do you do, Mr. Fraser?
You Hercule Poirot. Mr. Hastings said you wanted to speak to me.
Yes. I know that it may not be the right time, but I would like to ask you a few questions.
We're getting ever so closer, doing an observation here very quickly, then we're going to ask him some questions and hopefully we'll piece it all together.
Donald Fraser is in a terrible state, as if he hadn't slept all night. And he's drinking White Horse. Did you visit Betty yesterday afternoon?
No, I haven't seen Betty for 2 days. I was at the office yesterday afternoon.
Can you prove that?
Of course. But why this question? Betty died yesterday evening, didn't she?
Yesterday, a guest came to the Ginger Cat alone and ordered a White Horse whiskey, and By the look of it, you also appear to be fond of this brand.
Yes, it's a good whiskey and not cheap. I only drink it on special occasions. Or tragic ones.
I understand. Do you know what Betty's plans were yesterday evening?
She said she was having dinner with her sister.
And you believed her?
And why not, sir? She was my fiancée.
That did not stop her from lying to you before. Betty was not a bad girl, but she did like to take advantage of her success with men.
How dare you sully her memory?
I am not interested in memories of her, Mr. Fraser. I am looking for a killer, and I need you to be my closest ally. That is, unless you have something to hide.
Of course I don't.
Très bien. So, what were we saying? Where were you yesterday evening?
I looked everywhere for her, but in vain. When she said she was going to have dinner with her sister on a weekday, I thought it was strange. I tried not to think about it, but I was like a lion in a cage. I was convinced she was lying. So I went round all the restaurants in the town. When I didn't find her, I went to the next town. But nothing. I must have got home about midnight or 1 o'clock.
Did anybody see you?
I don't think so. I didn't talk to anybody. I was so furious.
Ah, I knew I'd find you here, Poirot. I thought the victim's young man was here.
Yes, is all yours, Chief Inspector.
Fraser doesn't have an alibi and he's extremely jealous.
You are very skilled at summing up.
And yet you haven't asked Japp to arrest him.
It is too soon. But I agree, without the letters announcing the crimes, Fraser would already be behind bars. Bon, I think we have enough elements. Let's reconstruct the events at the scene of the crime.
So on to our reconstruction now.
The killer and the victim are walking on the beach. Miss Betty has a bag, a belt around her waist, and carries her shoes in her hand. Both of them walk slowly to hut number 5. Both of them walk slowly to hut number 6. Miss Betty enters the hut. She leaves without her belongings. Then she hides a code. They keep walking. Then she removes her belt.
The murderer moves behind her and then attacks her by surprise. The body falls, lifeless, on the sand.
Everything appears to match the crime scene, mon cher Hastings. That is exactly what happened. Without the ABC, we might have suspected Mr. Asher and Mr. Fraser. But by signing his crimes, the murderer is making sure he's accused. In a way, it is very generous of him.
Generous? The murderer seduced Betty in order to lure her to the beach and kill her.
Indeed, the young woman was certainly careless, but not stupid enough to follow a stranger.
What are you planning to do, Poirot?
Return to London, mon cher Hastings.
Thanks again for joining us on the ABC Murders, and I will be back next time with some more investigating. Until then, guys, it is peace out from me.